call to order. Mr. Albro.
Present.
Ms. Calderon.
Present.
Mr. DeCosta. Ms. Coffinger.
Here.
Mr. Lombardi.
Here.
Mr. Luna. Ms. Ryan. Vice President Dunn.
Here.
President Goma.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the New Milford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall and the New Milford Public Library. Notices have been sent to the Record and the Twin Borough News. The board announces that under its long-standing policy, it will not discuss in public any comments made by members of the public concerning individual staff members. At this time, please be advised that all cell phones and electronic devices are to be turned off. Meetings of the board are open to the public, and all members of the community should feel free to participate. Before coming to the board, the chain of command should be followed. There are two portions of the meeting reserved for comments from the public. The first at the beginning of the meeting for agenda items only, and the second at the end of the meeting for other items. Issues raised by the public may or may not be responded to by the board, but all comments will be considered. The board requests that all members of the public be mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Due to confidentiality and the legal rights afforded by the state of New Jersey, members of the public are asked to not speak negatively or in a derogatory manner about any employee of the board or any student. Superintendent of Schools report, Mr. Galasso.
Sure. So I hope everyone's having a wonderful evening preparing for the snow. It's very stressful for me. I will make a call very shortly right after this. Under board action, I'd like to approve the January-February HIV report. New Milford High School, there were 0 HIV 338 forms submitted. That is perfect, just what we want. At DEO, there was 1 HIV 338 form submitted. 1 HIV was investigated and unfounded. In Berkeley, there were 2 HIV 338 forms submitted. 1 HIV was not forwarded for investigation. 1 HIV was investigated and was also unfounded. In Gibbs, there were 2 HIV 338 forms submitted. Both were investigated and both were unfounded. In closed session, we'll discuss these more in depth. I'd also like to approve the January-February suspension report. In Milford High School, 1 student was suspended for a total of 1 day in school suspension. At DEO, 6 students were suspended for a total of 10 days. 2 students served 1 day of in-school suspension. 4 students served a total of 8 days of out-of-school suspension, ranging from 1 to 3 days. Berkeley and Gibbs both had 0 suspensions. I'd like the approval of the student safety data system incidents. Twice a year, we have to upload into the SSDS, it's called, violence and vandalism, HIV alleged, HIV founded, and so the principals take that on their shoulders, they upload it, we screen it, and we certify it. So I just gave the chart in there in the board notes so you can see kind of what we're dealing with. We will have to do it again at the end of this year. We have to revise last year's calendar. It's no fault of our own. The governor in December changed the June 3rd election date because it's also a Jewish holiday. He moved the election date in June out to June 10th. We had students off on June 3rd with a PD. It doesn't make sense to do that now, so we are asking to revise the calendar and move it to June 10th. We will do the same exact thing, PD day, kids are off, but it saves the day, and it makes complete sense. Personnel recommendations, 2 retirements, 2 big retirements, Mr. Wilson and Mr. Jacob. Mr. Wilson, he's a legacy, over 40 years in the district, so he grew up in New Milford, came back to work in New Milford, and after next year, he has no reason to go through New Milford anymore for the first time in his life, which is very strange to him. I'm sure we will see him around. I am positive. He coached basketball, tennis. He was the head of the NMEA. He's been very involved. We also have a math teacher, Mr. Jacob, retiring. Also from the high school. He worked 23 years as a high school math teacher. He's going to be very difficult to replace. So we're going to post as soon as possible. I'd also like to point out Mary de Cristofaro. You'll see she's getting retro pay. That is something we're trying to make right. We were paying her as a para, or in the instructional aide, and she has a sub-cert and has been doing all the teacher roles, PLAFs, preparing lesson plans and everything else, and she's a good soldier. And when her sub run ended, she kind of just went with it, and we found out about it, and we're trying to make it right. So she's been doing everything that she's been supposed to be doing, and more. Approval of the revised SBJC contract. We pride ourselves in New Milford of having a lot of services in district. If we do not have a service in district or it's filled up, in this case it's speech, we have to subcontract out. We have multiple speech therapists, in our district, but if it's in the IEP and we have to meet it, we do have to subcontract out. So that is the revised for the SBJC contract. We are part of their consortium. I actually sit on the board with them. They're a good outfit. Approval of Mr. Riccadelli as a volunteer, flag football for the young lady who will be running. He is volunteering as a coach. It is no cost to the Board of Education. Mr. Riccadelli, listen, he does his thing, and I won't question him on it. He raises a lot of money quick when he needs to, so it's fully funded through fundraising. He's going to get them new gear, new footballs. Just like last year, there's a waiver where the kids transport themselves to the away matches. I think there's only 6 and 6 or something. There's not many, so it really is at no cost to the district except for the blood, sweat, and tears of Mr. Riccadelli. I did say I'd come out and help him implement the defense because I do miss coaching football, but that's about it. We're going to end there.
Okay, any questions? Okay. Assistant Superintendent Report, Lauren O'Doxa.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few quick updates to share with you. We are going to be revising our elementary standard-based report card for the 25-26 school year. It's now been several years since they were created, maybe even 10 or 11 years. We're just going to take a closer look to ensure closer alignment with the new NJ SLS in ELA and math. So that work will be done collaboratively in teams, and we're looking forward to that. We will be offering 2 workshops for faculty in March on AI. We're going to have a session for K-5 as well as 6 through 12. It will be for teachers. We're looking forward to that as well. It's a conversation that we've revisited now several times, and we're looking to get the ball rolling, so looking forward to moving in that direction. The refinement of our curriculum for CUSAC is now finalized. All of the revisions were shared with the county. We are now shifting our focus to our intervention and referral services processes and looking closely at plans, ensuring that we have met the other indicator that falls under instruction and program. And I just wanted to share, last week the high school had the open house. I received a lot of positive feedback following that event. I know there was a really great turnout, so I want to thank Dr. Peter Friend and Mr. Minipelli and their team for planning that. It was great to hear all the positive comments afterwards. And then also thank you to Mrs. Zacher, who's in the process of securing presentations for students and staff, focused on school engagement and combating absenteeism, leveraging our Title IV funds. So we're looking at bringing in some speakers and active presentations for both students and staff. So thank you. And that concludes my report for tonight.
Great, any questions? No? Business Administrator Report, Stephanie Puchard.
Good evening, everyone. Every meeting I remind you about the high balances, and I think last meeting it may have been Paige who asked me about what it is. And so the number of our high balances is $18,457.20 of unpaid meal charges, which sounds like a lot, but it's not bad. So we're working on that. We send out the monthly notices to families. We encourage families, if they need to submit a free and reduced lunch application to qualify for that. And so we're working on it. We do have the audit presentation at next week's meeting, and we do have a surplus in the food services account, and so it's currently not a problem because the budget doesn't need to support it because we have such a high balance, and that's from the COVID when we got all that money back. In terms of the budget for the 25-26 school year, we're currently working on that. I think Mr. Glasser and I talk about that probably at least 5 times a day, if not more. Unfortunately, we still don't have a balanced budget. We're assuming that the state aid is flat. The past 2 years, we've received a reduction in state aid, so it's probably likely we're gonna have another reduction, but for right now, the budget's assuming flat, and we're still not balanced, which is not such a good situation to be in right now. Unfortunately, what happened and why we're here is because we had, well, across the state, any district who's in the state health benefits plan had such a large increase in the health benefits. So that's over $1 million this year. We also have to plan, we're being advised to plan for another double-digit increase in the 25-26 budget. So we do have that in place. And then another sort of large thing that happened is, I think word on the street is that Milford has such great special education programs, and so we have such a large population of those students. And unfortunately, this year, we had 6 students that we could not maintain in district, and so they've been sent out. And so now we have to plan for that year after year, and that cost, could be $100,000 for one student just for tuition, not even including transportation. We're looking at creative solutions for transportation, and it does include some of our non-public students that we're paying aid in lieu, and seeing if we can take that in district. And so right now we have all of our routes are at least triple tiered, which means all of our drivers do one route, they drop off, they go do another route, they drop off at another school, and most of our drivers then do a 3rd route and drop off at a 3rd location. So I do know that we're looking at different options and what we can do there. If we need to buy a van or an additional vehicle that may help us with the budget, we'll do that. So we're sort of exhausting all of our options, but it's right now we don't have a balanced budget yet. And then at our next meeting, we will get there. I'm confident by the March meeting we'll have a balanced budget.
We have to.
Yeah, we'll get there. And then at our regular meeting next week, the auditor will be here to present the 23-24 audit. And that concludes my report.
Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. Any correspondence?
None this evening.
Okay. Agenda items for discussion. Review of the tentative agenda. Oh, yes, I missed that one. Any liaison board committee reports? No. I mean, we just had it just before the meeting, but, okay, no one else? No correspondence, and then we're gonna go over our agenda items for discussion. Any questions or comments for review of the tentative agenda for the regular meeting to be held on February 11th? Any questions about the review of the board action? No? Review of educational programs and curriculum? Review of personnel recommendations?
I have a comment.
Sure.
Mr. Wilson was my basketball coach. And so he was my basketball coach. He was my social studies teacher. He was like my therapist. So that is a great legacy that he's leaving behind, and the high school will miss him. I mean, the whole district will miss him. But hopefully, don't tell him I said that. But he will be missed.
Yes, he will be. Any questions for finance and facilities? Any questions for athletics co-curricular? No? Any old business? Any new business? I just want to make a comment. First, I did attend the high school open house, and I did think it was very well done. I thought that also the students presenting all their different curriculum, they were great as well. So I thought it was a really nice night. I think a lot of people left there learning new things about the school and also excited for their kid to go there next year.
I felt like I had a lot of good conversations. I was hanging out in the cafeteria, and I could not get out of the cafeteria because of all the positive chatter from the parents, and even just, I think I want to give a shout out to the staff. They had smiles on their faces. They were there. The kids were there. It was a really nice atmosphere, really nice atmosphere.
And then I also want to do a shout out, I also went to the, as well as Tony, I know Mr. Galasso went to the Down on Skid Row, which was the fundraiser for the alumni benefit. I thought it was excellent. Dan here, he was amazing. I can't believe how well he can sing. It is great to see the alumni come back. I know that my daughter was very impressed with all the students that came back and how talented they are. So it gives them like to aspire to that one day. So I thought that was also a great event. Okay, does anyone else have anything for new business or old business? Okay, open to the public. I seek a motion as outlined in New Milford Board of Education bylaw 0167. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. I need a second. Stephanie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is anyone from the public would like to say anything? No? Okay, I seek a motion to close to the public. Nicole, seconded by Tony, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any board member requests for additional information? Okay, closed session. It is hereby moved that the Board of Education adjourn into executive session in accordance with the provisions of Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 PL, for the purpose of discussion and consideration of matters pertaining to the following subject: student matter and personnel. The minutes of the executive session will be available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. I need a motion to go into close. Cheryl, seconded by Andrew. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And when we return, we will not be taking any action. So, thank you.
Okay.